I made over $20,000 in a month from making YouTube thumbnails. Helped generate over $7 million online, got millions and millions of clicks, and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. This might all sound a little wild, but if you follow in the exact footsteps that I did, you can too, because literally nobody is doing this right now. And the ones that are, they're either insanely talented and dominating, or they're just really bad, which means there's a huge gap in the market for thumbnail designers. But not just that, also YouTube strategists and creative directors. You might be a little confused on how this all ties together, but don't worry, I'll explain how it all works together in a little bit. Right now, just understand that I was what's called a click creator. And with that in mind, let's take it back to how this happened and then how you can do it as well. So this is my YouTube channel that I posted over 2,000 videos on, gained over 13,000 subscribers on, and when I stopped posting was back in the fall of 2022. And you'll notice some of these videos did pretty well. The thumbnails, pretty eye-catching, and the results showed that. So I was doing some drop shipping, didn't really find much working with that. Obviously the videos did pretty well. I was getting some sponsorships, so I was making some money that way. I even did a SMMA here where I did a video editing business, and that was really hard. It's very hard to find clients. You have to compete with a lot of Indians, and it's very difficult to do. And it's very labor intensive because you have to focus on 7, 8, 10 hours on just one single video to edit, and you get paid $300. You really don't get paid that much, especially if you don't do like a lot of graphic design and stuff. So this was me, right? I was not happy. Wasn't making a whole lot of money. Wasn't doing a whole lot, and really at this time, life wasn't great because, yeah, I had some videos pop off, which was cool, but once again, I wasn't making money. I wasn't paying any bills, right? It just wasn't that great. One of my friends named Lennon Chastain here, he had done similar content, and somebody found him through this video called I Tried an SMA for 30 Days. That man was Joel Kaplan. And Joel really liked these thumbnails that I did, and I ended up working for Joel, making thumbnails. And if I go all the way back, this video was the very first one that I worked on. 120,000 views, first thumbnail. Then I went back and did a couple of these other ones, like this one, 270,000, 78,000. Joel's channel started blowing up. At this time, he had 5,000 subscribers. These videos were doing nothing. These videos all got views later on after the channel blew up. If we look back, these were more what it was like. It was like 300 views, 700 views. Like, look at these thumbnails. They were terrible. I never went back and redid them. But some of them, like the Hormozy one I did, yeah, and then I did the rest of the thumbnails. So, yeah, I started doing thumbnails for Joel. And I kind of stopped doing YouTube. I was pretty busy with that. And then I started getting more clients. I started doing some outreach. And I started working for some other people. One would be like your friend Andy. Then I started doing some work for this guy named Chandler Sane. And I even did a little more work for Jenny Hoyos. And then I started doing some thumbnails for Financial Wolf. And it kept snowballing. I also did stuff for Quick Play. If we look up their channel real quick, they were a huge channel, and some of their most popular videos I did thumbnails for as well. This one, for example, 1.2 million views right here. Crazy stuff. So then, as I was making these thumbnails, right, I was a little bit happier because I was making some money. And by the way, I started off one of these thumbnails charging $50. Then, as I kept getting more views, people started coming to me wanting thumbnails. I kept getting referred to people. It started to be a snowball effect because people saw those thumbnails. Like, oh, who does the thumbnails? People wanted thumbnail designers. They want people that can get clicks and attract the right attention, because not only was Joel getting views, he's making a ton of money. He's making $700,000 a month, which I can pull up real quick. You can see here, this was Joel, $700,000, and then me and Joel with the play button. And this picture was actually in Denver, which is where Joe lived. I'm going to get into that and how that all unfolded in a second. But yeah, $50 for thumbnails. Then I ended up charging $100. And then I started seeing, oh, there's some people on Twitter that are really good at thumbnails. They get a lot of views. They were charging even $150. Some were even charging $300. So I was like, I don't want to, rip people off, but I think my time is worth a lot. 150 bucks. How long did it take me to do these thumbnails? About an hour. Maybe 1.25, maybe an hour and a half. But I mean, basically, I was virtually making 100 bucks an hour, $150 an hour. Great money. Most people, before, I don't have a picture of it actually, but I worked at a store called Meijer. This is what a Meijer looks like if you're not familiar with it. It's basically a grocery store, kind of like a Walmart, Target type thing, in the Midwest here. And yeah, that's where I worked. I was making $12.50 an hour, I think it was. So yeah, $12.50. That's where what I could have been at. And if I was even if I was thinking about doing being an electrician. How much do electricians make as apprentices before being foremans? 20, 25 an hour. Yeah, here I was making $150. Sure, I wasn't exactly working for 8 hours a day, right? I was only doing these maybe 3-4 hours a day. What was I doing the rest of the day? I was goofing off. I kind of regret this looking back. I could have made so much more money if I just made more thumbnails. All I had to do was outreach. I think I might have sent like 100 emails, and I got like 5 clients off of that. Like a 5% conversion rate. It's pretty crazy. So we're past the stage now of being unknown. I'm now a designer, right? So unknown, yeah, I had a personal brand a little bit on the channel, and that's kind of how I was able to, you know, get the attention of Joel through Lyndon, and yeah, that helped. But you don't need that. If you put in the work, you get results. You can make good thumbnails, and they get views, and they make money, views plus money. Or one or the other, right? If they just make money, that works too. Or they just get views, that works as well. If you can get a lot of views, you can do views, get views through more entertainment channels, and you just make their thumbnails. Like if you've ever heard of Diltoma, he makes thumbnails for some of the biggest YouTubers there are, and he charges $350, even $500 a thumbnail. My friend has paid him a lot of money for some thumbnails, and they aren't the most crazy designs either. Some of them are, don't get me wrong, but some of them aren't. So yeah, some of these thumbnails, like for me, I was doing stuff in the business niche. These thumbnails were not that complicated. I wasn't doing Mr. Beast level thumbnails. And Mr. Beast pays like $10,000 per video for thumbnails. Yeah, he gets a lot of versions, but $10,000 is insane because that's how important the thumbnail click is. So if people are willing to pay, you know, $10,000, $500 for thumbnails, other people are going to be very, you know, willing to pay $100, $150. Sure, there's going to be, you know, some dude on Fiverr that charges $5, but he sucks. That's where that talent gap is in understanding YouTube, understanding how to get clicks. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not that hard to figure it out. I can show you exactly how. But to continue the story here, I was a designer, and I had all these clients, was doing a bunch of thumbnails, making $100, $150 an hour, and that was phenomenal. But I didn't get comfortable here. I wanted more because I had done YouTube before. I knew it worked well on YouTube. And the next logical step was to become a strategist. So using packaging skills, right? This is also titles. It's not just, I also worked on titles. So obviously thumbnails is important. I also got paid a little bit of money for doing titles because I became a strategist. And being a strategist for just working for Joel remotely, not moving, anything like that, $3,000 a month was how much I was getting paid. And worked on titles, worked on packaging, worked on managing some editors a little bit. That was more so when I became a creative director, which I'll get to. But as a strategist, that was a lot of researching ideas. Came up with over, I think it was 2,000 ideas, something crazy like that. Just coming up with the perfect ideas, title options, and doing a ton of research for scripting and all kinds of stuff. That's your job as a strategist. Find what's going to work, find what's going to get views, and what's going to make money. You have to find what converts both ways. Especially in the business niche, you gotta get one or the other or both. And you can do a lot of research just through YouTube. You don't necessarily need tools or anything like that. There's a lot of different methods that you can use. I'm going to have other videos breaking that all down. But now, as a strategist, I was coming up with a lot more stuff for Joel. We were working a lot closer together. And now I had the opportunity to start doing that for some other people as well. And I had a little bit of experience with this, with Joel, obviously, my own channel. And I leveraged that results. So, right, you get results. This is how you make money. You get results. You just have to get that first break. So you get a little bit of outreach. You can do some outreach, and you get some results. You leverage those results. Now you get more results. Now you get more results, and you just continue to compound that. So your success might look a little bit like this. It might stagnate for a while. You get some results. Now you can leverage that. Here you get a big win. Now you can use that to then scale up. because you have that big win. So Joel was just a huge win for me because of the money, because of the views, and that's how I was able to leverage him to land more clients. Before that, I could leverage my own channel and some of the results I had there. So that was also part of it. In the past, like for my video editing, I had done Instagram theme pages, and I made money there. So I leveraged that. You always have to leverage your results. So if you have no results, what do? You make thumbnails on your own. You get good at making thumbnails, and you make free ones for people. You say, hey, if you want to use it, cool. If not, whatever. But you get some practice in. So day one, you're not going to be the best thumbnail designer in the world. You're definitely not. But it's also not that complicated. Like the stuff, I don't know Photoshop that well, and I've been doing Photoshop since I was like 10. Like I really don't know that much, but there's a lot of crazy stuff you can do. There's a video on my channel that I break down almost everything I know about packaging. It's a full masterclass. It's a coaching call that I did, and it boils down to having 3 objects, making people click, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. 3 objects is huge. 3 point of emphasis for like the eyes to focus on. That's so huge, so huge. And what those are, what that appeals, like what those things are, and how they appeal to the audience, very, very important. Because also with this packaging, you need to know, is this packaging going to lead to more watch time as well? Not just get the clicks, not just be clickbaits, but is it going to lead to watch time, which ultimately will lead to more views and more money because either ads, right, throughout the video, or because they spend more time with you. This is where the strategist and creative director role starts coming in. You got to understand this, is when people spend more time with a creator, they become more loyal to them, and they look at them more as an authority. You look at Speed, or Kai Cenat, those are some of the biggest in the world, and they have really loyal audiences because people spend so much time with them. So if you'll notice with like Joel, these videos were long, 30 minutes, hour-long videos. Down here, if we scroll down a bit, hour long, 2 hours long. These are really long videos where people spent time with them. So yeah, Joel wasn't making some money off of ads, but he sold a product off of it, and that's where he made a lot of money. There's a lot of things that go into being a designer and then a strategist, and that was stage 2, then to stage 3. Stage 4, I ended up becoming a creative director for Joel. Then I actually did more creative director work for Chandler Stain as well, managed editors, did all kinds of stuff, made a lot of money with that, and he was making $50,000 a month from a really niche YouTube channel. So that was cool. Not as much as Joel, but the traffic wasn't mass market for him. So because of these results and different things, I just wanted to mention that I was able to work for Eric for a little bit, got to be a part of some of his video processes, and I can't say anything else besides that. But getting results and standing out in the marketplace and finding those gaps, which is strategy work, creative director work, thumbnail designer work, these are the 3 biggest things that are untapped right now in the YouTube space. And content creation isn't going like anywhere. It's only going to get bigger. Like more and more people will watch content. People just doom scroll all day long. I'm part of that. I watch videos a lot. You need somebody to be creative and actually make all this. Just to break this down though, this is the easiest business model to get into. If you're making no money right now, this is a huge gap in the market. Nobody's doing it. There's very low barrier to entry. You just have to design some basic thumbnails on Photoshop, get some clients, which really isn't that hard if you have a halfway decent script, and you make them a thumbnail. That's pretty much the secret. If you make somebody a thumbnail, they're going to open up the email. If it's pretty good, they'll want to work with you. And if you can get them some results, great. Now you just sold them with the results. It's that simple. So that being said, you compare this to other startup models like drop shipping or Amazon FBA or NFTs or even clipping. Clipping takes a lot of work. You got to know how to go viral. That takes a lot of knowledge, takes a lot of time to get good at that. And there's a lot of things that go into a lot of those other ones. And with this, designing thumbnails is not that hard to get into. And just immediately being in stage 2, going from being unknown to being in stage 2, you're making $50 an hour, pretty much at minimum, okay? Then you can start making results. You can charge 100, and you don't necessarily need to charge 150. You can only charge a few people 150 because not everybody's going to pay 150, but 100 you can easily charge 100. Sometimes now when I do thumbnails, I actually don't even charge 150. I actually go back to a 100 because I know they're not going to want to pay 150. But that's only if I know they wouldn't do that. There's plenty of people that do. I still actually work for Financial Wolf, and he pays me $150. Every now and then I do some thumbnails for him, and he pays me $150. Like if I were to get a new client to do thumbnails for, at this stage for my time to be used, I would be charging $250 a thumbnail, just solely because of the experience that I have, the results that I've gotten, and the work that goes into it, some of the pre-work that I put into the thumbnails, and determining what would convert the best, not only on views, but also on money. That is huge, because if you can bring more to the table than just getting views, I mean, that's obviously huge, right? You need to not just click-through rate, but views ultimately as a whole. Of course, the one thing with designing is the video has to be halfway decent, but if you can get clicks in the door, the right clicks in the door where those expectations are set right, like I mentioned earlier, you can easily get paid $50 to $100 per thumbnail, which is $100 an hour, and you're making more money than most people are. Like you just are, just by making some thumbnails. And it doesn't take that long, like I said, to learn to do this. It's pretty straightforward. Then you just learn some stuff about YouTube, you get some more results, and you keep stacking. And then you become the creative director, which is where we left off. And so then I moved to Denver. Okay, I moved out there with Lynn and Chastine, actually. And I was in Denver for 6 months. We got to work on content together. I learned a lot there. And manage editors, did all that kind of stuff. Work with Chandler Stain, like I said. Work with some other channels. And that's what ultimately got me to $20,000 a month. The most I made solely as a thumbnail designer was about $6,000 to $7,000 a month. And that was like peak clients, peak grinding. But becoming a thumbnail designer teaches you packaging. And once you learn packaging, then you know how to do strategy. Because if you can get views through the package, because the packaging is the most important part. Like if you can't get clicks, nobody's going to watch the video, right? So if you know how to get clicks, you can just become a strategist. Then become a strategist to become a creative director, not that difficult, because a strategist is really good. The creative director just adds a few more responsibilities. And as a creative director, now you can make a lot more money. Creative directors make a lot more money than thumbnail designers, and people need creative directors, right? Now you're going to start learning about scripting, you're going to start learning about managing editing, and this takes a little bit more skill than like just doing packaging and being like a packaging strategist and specialist. So there is more work that goes into it, but once again, if you have the right guidance and you don't waste a ton of time making tons of videos like I did. Like I said, I made over 2,000 videos. I've worked with like tons and tons of channels, and it all boils down to some very simple things, which I'm going to explain to you in a little bit. But yeah, Denver was a great experience, as you saw here. Got to work with Joel, got to get the plaque, and of course the money there for Joel. So great experiences and fun times. Now stage 5, this one is one that very few people will get to. This is called Brand Scaler. And this is where you can just start working with a brand new brand and just scale them. An example of this is Ethan's channel, 1,000 subscribers. Look at these thumbnails. These are nothing crazy at all. And immediately we made $33,000 off of 7 videos that were really low effort videos. So guys, the blueprint is simple. You compare this to other models, it's not even close how much better being a thumbnail designer to then being a strategist, creative director, and even brand scaler. Like, this route is just overpowered. Yeah, you're not going to own a $1 million business, but if you want money that's pretty guaranteed, a pretty proven path, you got to follow this route. Timeline on this: to become a designer, get your first client, I'd say a week to a month, like max. And then you can immediately be making some money right there. Like I said, $50 a thumbnail, then you can go to 75, and you can just continue to get results. And the more clients you get, the more thumbnails you make, then you can continue to stack those results, get some testimonials, stack that, call that the TRT method. So you stack that, stack all these results. Now you can leverage that to get to stage 3. You can leverage those results to get to stage 4, and it goes on and on. So you can make $50 to $100 an hour. Strategist, like I said, $3K a month, guaranteed money, easy. And then as a creative director, you can make 6 to 7 here, really solid money. Then as a brand scaler, the money's kind of infinite here. I know that's not the infinite logo, but brand scaler, people really value your skills. It's pretty cool just to start and work with brands that weren't doing much, and then you just blow them up, or with either views or with money. And obviously that all starts from being a thumbnail designer and learning packaging. So then to get from the designer to strategist phase, I honestly think it takes a month. I really don't think it takes that long. To go there from strategist to creative director, we're looking at about another month. Really not that difficult. Once again, once you kind of understand things, if you take the easy route, it's like 3 months. If you learn stuff the hard route, it's going to take a lot longer than that. And what I mean by that is I literally have an accelerator that breaks down everything stage by stage to get you from stage 1 to making $100 an hour, to get you to stage 3 to making $3K a month per client that you're a strategist for. You can stack that into about 3 to 4 clients comfortably, where you have like a good amount of work where you're not overworked and you can actually handle that. So I'd say 3 to 4 clients are making $10K a month here. That is a creative director. Now we're talking like 20 to 25K a month. So this isn't, you're not making infinite money, but you're making a lot better money than most people are. You're living a solid life. You have time freedom, right? The way I work, it's 5:30 in the morning right now, guys, and I didn't get up. I'm going to bed in like 20 minutes. I have the ultimate time freedom. I can get up whenever I want. I just have to get stuff done by a certain day. It doesn't matter, whether I'm not working 9 to 5. I'm not getting up in the morning. Why would I do that? I can just get up whenever. Location freedom. Like I moved to Denver on the whim. I lived in Chicago my entire life, and I was like, you know what? Let's go move to Denver. Work with Joel for a little bit. 6 months. Cool. Now I come back to Chicago and I can, move again if I really want to. I can do whatever I want because of the freedom of being a creative director and having a high leverage skill. This is something that not many people have in today's world. 2 of my friends just graduated college. They can't even get an internship. Well, actually, I take that back. One got an internship, one didn't. One has a job, one doesn't. And one has a job that isn't even in their field. Not in their field, not in their major at all, making $18 an hour. That's not what they signed up for with that degree that they paid $30K like a year for. I mean, I don't even know. It's an insane amount of money. It's a state college, so it's a little bit cheaper, but still insane. So why would you do that when you could just do this? Have a high leverage skill, because this stuff is not going away. If you learn YouTube marketing, I mean, you're going to be set for a really long time. If you continue to develop that skill, it's going to get more and more competitive. But right now, it's the easiest time to jump in because so many creators are trying to scale and they either can't or they are and they're struggling, and that's where some of those creative director roles come in, where you manage editors and stuff. So they're trying to scale, but they don't have anybody to feed them ideas, to feed them the packaging, so they can just film the content. That's what the creative director's role is. If you want to make $20,000 a month yourself within like 3 months, not guaranteed, but the path is pretty simple if you follow exactly what I did. I mean, I went from making $0 to making $10,000 revenue a month in basically like 3-4 months. Now, if you learn the exact methods that I did and you don't do all the hard work that I did, all the hard methods, you can get to that $20,000 a mark potentially. Not, guaranteed, like I said, but you could potentially get to this mark in 3 months. If I did this now, looking back, I could easily get to 20K a month just by doing that. So this is the easiest model to start. You get a high leverage skill, and that means you can charge high money for what you're doing, and nobody's doing it. It's a big gap in the market. If you get started today, this opportunity is definitely not going to last forever, but right now there is a huge gap in the market, and you can click below to learn more. You can join the accelerator today for $9.95 to make 10K, to make 20K, to make $100 an hour, to literally start out making $100 an hour, $50 an hour. Like, it's a pretty insane opportunity. And yes, it requires some work. There is hard work to it. I'm not going to deny that. There is a little bit of manual labor, but once you learn those skills, you can leverage that to then actually get other people to do it. And you don't even need to do the work. You just have the knowledge up here, and you make a lot of money without doing a whole lot of work. In the beginning, there's a little bit of work. That's just the way life goes. You have to put in some work. But as you gain that knowledge, you gain that experience, you gain those results, you can easily make $10,000 to $20,000 a month, live comfortably, live on your own terms, and be free. So with that said, I'll see you inside the accelerator.